Okay. Okay. I've got part of my display blocked, so I may or may not be able to see all the little interesting stats. I have kind of like the peek around my phone here thing. I've got this, what are those things called? Like the lens clip thingies, so we can actually see some color. Morning, everyone. Real quick, can you guys actually hear me okay? I almost never do this from a phone. Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't really feel like being particularly productive today. So I decided to just do this quick little live. I should really be working on more produced videos, but writer's block is a thing, y'all. Oh. I'm doing less talking than I normally do. I just kind of want to walk around a little bit first. I've got these two systems here that are major long-term works in progress. This guy here is a 250 gallon aquarium, and we've had this set up for months and months and months. And it's gone so poorly that it's only now that we're starting to get some torches and some frog spawn in here. This, I think we're just gonna design as a Euphilia heavy tank. What happened to the CSB? What's the CSB? Oh, Colorado sunburst anemones. Those guys hated it in here. They hated it so much that they started to die. And we kicked them back out to the greenhouse where they were doing really, really well for a little while. And then they started getting angry again. So hopefully next door they are doing better. I haven't actually looked at them today. But we've got a lot of Euphilia here. So that's plan B. We're going with Euphilia. One big thing that does help is that we've gotten a lot more flow. This is, what is it, like a Voyager 10? Which is Ciche Voyager 10. And I think that's part of the reason why the anemones didn't do so super well. On this side, also another work in progress. We've got our fish that are in jail. This is Nathan's powder blue tang and our magnificent foxface. They take turns bullying each other. They're jerks. I'm not really sure how I'm going to even go about adding anything more to this because of how angry these fish tend to be. But what we've got going on here is probably going to be a Goniopora dominated tank. So between these two tanks, you've got a Euphilia tank and then a Goniopora tank. Yeah, the cyano that's in this tank is quickly going away. We have cyano period just because this tank is so super neglected. We didn't really even do anything with it for the longest time. If we actually went through and gave any amount of scrubbing to these rocks, it would pretty much go away that day. Have I ever run a fishless aquarium for corals? Yeah, it's not the best, just because fish do provide some major services that we really appreciate. All right. working on this tank here finally. This is the one that everyone was super interested in. And we haven't grown any corals under these Orphic, what are these things called? Amazonas lights. We just, and I mean just started putting in rocks. Like, hello, do you see that flash? That, this light fixture right there seems to have like a control board issue. And we tried switching out even the entire control module. It didn't quite work. So we just deal with the fact that it flashes like that maybe 3 times a day. Yeah, lightning. Not like it's unintentional lightning. Before, we had another one of these lights that had a flicker to it that was way worse. And it did, we were able to get a different controller or something, and we fixed that. But this one here has that, like I said, maybe 3 times a day flicker. Yeah, so Orphic, they're more than willing to help us out on that. This is purely on our end. We just don't have like the time and patience to actually work on it. Yeah, I just don't want to bug them because they're gonna do something for us and then we're gonna do like nothing with it. So for example, here is a control box that they had sent extra, and I think that we tried it, but it didn't it didn't connect wirelessly or something. Yeah. Anyway, we've got 2 of these sea chays. I talked to one of their sales guys, and I was like, you know, I'm interested in trying out your pumps, and I was just asking for like, you know, like what kind of like store use pricing and blah blah blah. So they were actually kind enough to send us one, and we liked it. It's a very strong pump. They're kind of big and bulky though, but they move a lot of flow. In this tank, it's 10 feet long, and it sends the water all the way to the other end, and it hits the other side and loops back on the other side, just from these 2 pumps. So it's making like a big cyclone thing. So we ended up buying like 6 of them, I think. Oh, Bergia nudibranchs are amazing. We traded for, I don't know, maybe 6 of them or something like that. And well, not 6, we probably got like 2 dozen. I forget. I wasn't actually paying attention when we made that trade. But okay, going back to this tank here, right? So we put our stuff through like 72-day quarantines and everything. We kick out anything that looks suspicious. And out of nowhere, this tank developed 100-something Aiptasia. Easily. Like, Aiptasia covered everything, and it's like, well, that was interesting. It's like one Aiptasia somehow made it through and immediately went sexual spawning. So we traded for some Bergia nudibranchs, and this tank now has absolutely no Aiptasia in it anywhere. Can't find a single one, and I kid you not, they covered every surface. Completely covered every surface. So not only that, we've been catching and moving Bergia nudibranchs whenever we find them, because basically if you see them, they're probably starving. And we've been moving them from system to system. So long story short, I think that our Aiptasia issues facility-wide are going to be hopefully a thing of the past entirely, because the Bergia nudibranchs, they reproduce faster than Aiptasia do. And so the risk that, well, it's not really a risk for me, but the problem is that those Bergias, they kind of end up starving. And as a result, like, you know, they just run out of food. So whenever we find any of them that are just kind of like out and about, we immediately try to find them another tank where we do have some Aiptasia. And occasionally you do see one here and there, but I mean, there's a difference between seeing 1 or 2 and seeing like a tank full of them. And we definitely don't have tanks full of them anymore. So that's kind of like a bonus to that. So I would recommend Bergias to anybody. I wish we could find some organized way of grabbing them and selling them. Yeah, started with 24, now I have like 1,000. Probably, like, for example, we don't know where they are because they're all hiding during the day when the lights are on. So if somebody were to place an order for one, it's like, well, hopefully we get lucky and find one for this person. So effectively, they might just happen to come on a frag of ours, but we're not actively trying to sell them, if that makes any sense. And I apologize if I'm missing comments left and right. The comments don't stay on the screen very long, and I'm also like looking around a bit, not exactly paying attention to what's going on. Okay. Other thing, big show tank here. So these acro colonies are growing nice and big. They all started but with like 1-inch frags. We've planted a lot more of them. Get out of the way, fish. Look how fat these guys are. They act like we never feed them. Also, this tank, it went through its ugly phase. It went through all kinds of stuff. It had a little bit of, what do you call it? Some cyano. And mainly because we have super low nutrient levels in this entire system. And this tank didn't have enough flow. We were doing the closed loop thing. So down here, there are a total of 4 Vectra L2 for closed loops. But then we ended up adding two more Ciches. So these are, again, Voyager 10s. And then we also added 4 AI Neros. And those Neros, plus these Voyagers, have stirred up everything. So this little patch of red there, fish, a little patch of red there is pretty much the last remnant of any cyano in this tank. But that's a combination of like very low phosphates and nitrates and very low flow, because these rocks do collect detritus pretty well, and we feed this tank pretty heavily, if these fish are any indication, right? So whenever we have that accumulation of detritus, that's where the cyano likes to grow. It's like the perfect environment for the cyano. Anyway, add flow, cyano's gone. And nobody's cleaned this tank in like weeks, because I'm the one that usually gets in there and starts siphoning and toothbrushing off the rocks, and I know I haven't done it in 2 weeks. But yeah, still doing good. So one of our guys, Stu, he's doing like a water change on our fish quarantine system. Okay, let's scooch over here. We can take a peek at some of these micromusas. Micromusas and blastos. These are ones that we're hoping to propagate more aggressively. Like, I love this guy here. That bright orange one. Are there any shrimp? I'm a shrimp collector. We don't have a ton of shrimp. I think there might just be some, what do you call it? Peppermints here and there. We lost a cleaner shrimp the other day, so we lost one of those next door. We need to get some more. These are some Australophilia. Some more Micromusa lords. Got those Candy Crush colored ones. These are one of my favorites because I just like the bright yellows. Everybody's into these high-end torches. Super slow growing, obviously. Yellow/orange frog spawns. And more of the fancy Euphyllia growing. They're slow, but they are developing additional heads. Over on this side, we've got mostly zoas, but there's like the remnants of our reef-to-reef sale that we did. Can you talk about your drains? Why are they so low? My drains, why are they low? Okay, so first off, these aren't the drains. These are closed loops. So this is a closed loop intake. And well, let's follow the plumbing, shall we? It goes down, over, and into this pump, which should not have a towel covering it. Okay. So that's a Vectra L2. The pumping comes back up and in there. Okay. So, and then it comes out of this quadrupus thing. So once again, intake here, outputs there. So there's multiple closed loops per thing. So these two tanks have two, one there, one there. So you guys can get an idea of how that works. And the benefit of that is instead of having like a pump that would sit into a tank, you could very easily shut off some valves and access these pumps if they need to be replaced or serviced. Olga Levinsky, that is a name, that's a blast from the past right there. I haven't heard your name in forever. Nice to hear from you again. Okay. So, if you were actually asking about drains, the drain assemblies are here in these overflow boxes. There's a triple drain down there. And they come into the central drain, which goes to the sump that's over there. And I apologize for the mess. We are still trying to do wire management here, despite everybody's eagerness to help us with that. I still don't have an idea on how to go about doing that. Okay. What are the perks of a closed loop? It's really about accessibility to the pumps for maintenance. And you kind of have a lot of flexibility when it comes to like the outputs of these things. And yeah, that's basically it. Where do we hide live rock? We don't really hide them. We just have very little of it. I think ideally we would have a lot more live rock in these things, but it's kind of this cost benefit of having a lot of live rock versus like organized grow out space. So ideally these tanks would be a lot taller. I kind of underestimated what glass thickness and everything like that does for these things. So in our next aquarium system that we're planning, we are going to be going with much deep, well, not much deeper, maybe 6 inches deeper. Because when you just look at the water line here, that's roughly 12 inches. And I was hoping that the water line total would be closer to 15 inches. And just having that much more flexibility is nice. If you didn't already know, this is our Acropora system. We're going to be adding more lights to this. We've got currently 6 Ecotech Radion. These are Gen 4s, Gen 4 Pros. And is this enough light? Yes. But you know what's even better, more light. What we're going to be doing is adding in a couple of the Orphic UV bars. So this tank will be getting, excuse me, frog in the throat. We're going to be getting an additional 4 light bars that are going to go beside these radions. No clams. There's a tank next door that we call the clam tank, and it hasn't had clams in it for 10 years. Okay. And last of these tanks, we've got random stony corals. Looks like some Favias, Cyphastria, chalices. Okay, you guys are curious about how these stands come together? So there's different designs you can do. Like you can see, so this is all 80-20 type stuff. 80-20, I don't know if you can even read that on your screen. But this is like an anchor, and that's like the fundamental type of connection between like these different bars. Each one of these guys can hold, I think, like 700 pounds of shear strength or something like that. These are, I don't know if they're called gussets or just corners, and that's additional stability. Like a lot of this stuff on our first time building, you know, we went with like some 45s here. Largely could be ignored if you went with a thicker profile of this stuff, because over here on our big show tank, this is a 3-inch by 3-inch profile, and we still have like, geez, the double thickness 3-inch by 1.5-inch corners. These 45s, probably not necessary. And in future designs, we kind of did away with those and just went with like this thing here. You could park a car on it. I mean, it is crazy. Total overkill. These guys, the 1.5-inch profiles, they're not bad either. But I think that we're going primarily in the future with more of the, this is kind of like a hybrid of the two. We've got the 3-inch by 3-inch profile and the 1.5-inch by 3-inch profile stuff. So this guy here does not have any of the 45s. And you can see, well, I lied. There's 145 and a couple of the corner pieces. Very much unnecessary. It felt good at the time, totally unnecessary. Did he already go over to Becca's tank? I have not. So, nothing to really see. It is right here. It's still cycling. So Becca is doing a video on the nitrogen cycle, and she is learning firsthand how frustrating that can be. In theory, it is so simple, right? So simple. Hey, what's up, Tech Your Talk? And what's up, Queen of Reef? I saw you chat earlier. So she's doing this video, kind of like explaining the nitrogen cycle, and at the same time, this tank is like taking its sweet time in actually cycling. So right now, there is a little bit of ammonia in here and almost no nitrite and nitrate. And she's just like, what are we doing wrong? It's like nothing. You just take some time. We didn't add any bacterial supplements or anything like that. We're just doing just straight feeding. But it's one of those things, is like, you said that this would take X number of days, and so far it's not happening. Do you even know what you're talking about? You fraud. No, but her tank is coming along. Actually, the water, I don't know if it even shows up on camera, but the water's super clear. And her system, that's different than all of our others, has sand, number one. But number two, has filter socks. And I'm becoming a much bigger fan of filter socks as we go, because I thought that we really wouldn't have like the bandwidth to really service it, and we still might not, but a little bit of that micron filtration really helps. Do you feed your corals? Yeah, we do. We feed some powdered stuff, some Benepets, maybe some Reefroids occasionally. I don't think we have any Reefroids anymore though, so we stopped feeding that. But when it comes like the LPS, we feed a lot of mysis and krill. So like if you were here when I was showing off some of the, what do you call it? Like the micromusa and stuff, I pretty much hand feed that stuff. Yeah. So her tank is going to be like a mix of some LPS, like elegances, hammers, torches, frog spawn, and zoas, and some other stuff. We have some quarantines. Do we have stuff that's not for sale? I think, honestly, there's a lot of stuff that's not for sale, only because we haven't gone through the process of actually putting it up. But yeah. These are all still going through quarantine. And this quarantine, for the most part, is super clean. The only issue that I don't even know if it's so much of an issue, just an annoyance, is like Hermited snails. They're so super tough. And so what we do is we just completely empty out a tank, fresh water it, vinegar it, do all that fun stuff. Have you ever tried my hand at sponges? Not sponges that people find attractive. For example, down here, see that like light gray stuff? Those are sponges. They grew out of nowhere for no good reason. And those are going to be like super hard to kill. The really pretty sponges will die if you look at them wrong. Okay, so again, this is Becca's tank, one quarantine tank, one empty quarantine tank that we will be using fairly soon. What we will probably do, and of course this is up for debate with the staff, because we hotly debate these topics that seemingly people care about, less so me, is what we're probably gonna do is take all these guys here off of their plugs, dip everything, and set them into this guy for a little while before they make it into the main part of the farm. I think that's going to be the major plan. Who knows? Certainly not me. Okay, so the other thing is that we've got our completely empty system here, and hate to say it, but this is going to be another quarantine. Hopefully this weekend we'll set it up. Do I recommend rimless tanks? Nope, I really don't. Becca's tank here is a rimless tank. I think it is the only one here that is rimless. I don't like them because they have a tendency of splashing over the edge. I think aesthetically they look pretty, but they don't quite have the utility of something with a Euro brace. We can't set anything on the edge. I wish I could get into the hobby, but things in South Africa are expensive. I got news for you. They're expensive here. What do I think about like an LPS only or an SPS only? There's probably some benefits to that, to be perfectly honest. Like, we've got a zoanthid system here that's tied in with our acropora system. And because of how finicky acroporas are, we sort of have to gear the system towards the needs and wants of acropora, which is probably a little bit too clean for zoas. So our zoas, while they are alive and happy, they're not as happy as they could be if it was a little bit dirtier in here. Again, I apologize if I don't get to everybody's comments. They literally pop up for like a half second, assuming I'm even paying attention. I did see one thing about like somebody had a coral gut that got ripped up from the inside out. That could be any number of things. A lot of times inverts of some sort do that. Like a shrimp could do that. Crabs could do that. Okay, so that most of the corals are in this system, which is set A. And then we have set B starting to populate. We've got some LPS and some mushrooms. But a lot of the corals that were in quarantine that I showed you earlier, those will likely be making their way into these systems. And right now there's a lot more live rock, more meaning not that much, but just enough. One lone Tumini tang. Let's see. How do you get rid of Hermited snails? I'm not even sure. I am not sure. Some people say that like you can use bumblebee snails, and I've heard mixed reviews on bumblebees. We've tried physically removing as many as possible. Not great. Do we run chillers? No. Dose calcium carbonate regularly. Now, what do you mean by dosing calcium carbonate? Because calcium carbonate is a solid. Yeah, Vermitids are like super annoying. I think that like we got one in here and then it immediately went sexual. So we ended up with a whole bunch. And now, I mean, you can kind of see that they're basically they're I don't think that you would look at this tank and say, there's a huge Vermitid problem. But I know that they're there. And if they are there, they will be back. But we did try to remove as much as possible. But we will also be trying the snail thing, what is it called, bumblebees? Do you run calc reactors on your systems? No, we don't use Kalkwasser. I'm curious to try it, but at the same time, sometimes more is just more. What is that chalice? Not really sure which one you mean. This guy here is a cloudberries, I think. Do you still have that really cool? So this is the Meltdown Favia, Bahama Llama. Milk or beef? Well, I don't really drink milk, so beef it is. Whatever, want to be a fish for a week? Nope. What pH do we run? I don't know, 8.3, something around there. I was gonna say something, but I totally lost track. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, now that I've shown you a couple of the pretty things. Oh, bubble algae. Really easy. Just get a fox face and your bubble algae issue's gone. What's my opinion on Orphix, real quick? Oh, the green and red chalice there, that is actually natural. Okay, so Orphix. We have relatively little experience with these things. These lights have been up here for a year, just consuming electricity. And this is the first that we've ever managed to put anything in these tanks. So hopefully these guys grow corals. I know that one of my friends really does very well with these Orphix, but we just started to grow these things. Their control system is really wonky, but they've just changed it to a new system to control, and I'm hoping that that is a lot better. So I can't control these with the new system without upgrading the control module in them. But I might actually pony up the upgrade cost just to see if the control is that much better. Because I'll tell you what, these lights here do so much better for photography than Radions. Radions are great lights for farming and stuff, but I don't like I don't like how they look on camera. Whereas like I visited my friend's tank that had these Orphix, and it was really flattering light. Anyway, marching on over here. It's a crime scene. We're planning out our next set of tanks. So this is going to be our newest system, and we're just getting some pricing info now. It's going to be a lot. I'm not exactly looking forward to ponying up the cash for all this, but it's going to be 500-gallon glass tanks. We're going to have another 500-gallon sump, and you can kind of see how they're going to be laid out here. Also really cool, we have a new packing station. One of the big things that we were missing over next door was the ability to really move through a lot in the way of packing. So this is our 40-foot long packing station. Yeah, Bahama Llama. When it comes to like this next system, it's going to be our most important system because it's going to be geared towards shipping and packing and sales. So the tanks are going to be giant, and they're going to be like kind of very like ergonomically located to the packing stuff. So my goal is that most of the packing activity happens here rather than having to run miles and miles and miles every day going and grabbing corals from that. What's the aspect ratio of these tanks? It's going to be 10 feet by 4 feet by about 20 inches tall. Can locals make an appointment to view the shop? Unfortunately, no. We are doing curbside pickup still, but unfortunately, no local visits just yet. How many different systems do we have? In this building, we're going to have 3 main big systems. And this side here, we were thinking about doing like a main system to make it a 4th, but what's ending up happening is just a bunch of like individual systems which have their own benefit. But it's going to be 3 main systems here, and next door there are 5, but they're much smaller. But yeah, anyway, packing stations here. We got our bag staplers all set up. How often do I go live? Almost never. We do like a live sale, like a live show for that. Yeah, so hopefully not a lot of grow out here. The idea is if something is that we know we have a lot of in the farm that are not reflected in these tanks, we pretty much have an idea that, oh, we should probably take a look at our website. That's one of the most difficult things, is to kind of make sure that what you actually have is reflected on the website. That is easily like a multiple person full-time job. And so anything that makes that aspect easier is good. So having an entire system kind of dedicated to be like a reflection of the website is kind of what we're going for. But yeah, we went crazy on like the finishing of this, because it's like, I mean, who the heck does aluminum stand work and quartz tops for their packing? But we do, because we spend easily, like at least more than half the crew spends half their day doing packing stuff. So I want anything where people really spend a lot of time to have like some nice fit and finish, just to be, mentally it helps out a lot to be around nicer stuff if you're going to spend all day doing this type of thing. Anyway, by the way, this skimmer here is part of that setup there. Yeah, what are these contraptions? This is like God's gift to packing. It's a bag stapler, so here are the staples. And you set the bag into here, you pull this lever, it goes ka-chunk. It'll put this staple, when it closes, is so strong that if you were to stand on that bag, every other part of that bag will fail before the staple does. Yeah. So these guys here are shockingly expensive. Like, It's because like their FDA thing, I don't know, but it's a block of like 316L stainless. So even if like this thing gets like super rusted and everything, you can just like scrub it really aggressively and it'll look brand new again. We have one of these that's almost like 10 years old and it looks basically brand new if you take care of it. By the way, I did see a super chat earlier, and I'm sorry, I totally didn't even catch the name, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That will definitely order me some Five Guys later this week. Yeah, I think that these things are, shoot, $1,000 or $2,000 each or something like that. And I know that like a case of Staples, super chat is Mikey. Thanks, Mikey. Yeah, a case of these Staples is like $700, which that's a case. But anyhow, I mean, look, if anybody ever wondered what a 40-foot packing station looks like, that's that. So yeah, I basically paid for an entire kitchen worth of quartz for the packing area. What's the funniest looking fish or coral you've encountered in the hobby? I don't even know. I do not even know. So first off, I'm not really a fish guy at all. Like fish kind of just happen to me. But when it comes to coral, I don't know, there's some goofy ones out there. Ever gonna get into selling clams? See, our problem with clams, I think, has a lot to do with how we treat our corals here and stuff. We do like a lot of dipping and stuff, and I think that the residue from those dips ends up killing clams. Do you order corals from Western Australia? So we don't actually import. We work with importers, but the process of importing ourselves, not so much. This place looks so clean, can't get, it's a lot of work. A lot of work. To keep, yeah, so whenever you see these coral farms that are like unnaturally clean looking, it's because it's unnatural. It's not this clean. How's the SPS tank doing? It's good. Right now, we're in the phase of the day. Here, let me just go ahead. Okay, by the way, this is the return line. I'm gonna turn off the return flow. Oh, no more return. And we've got the two closed loops, right? Oh, sorry for the fast driving, but I will go ahead and click off the two return pumps, or the two closed loops. Give it a sec. And I should probably get a stool, huh? Or am I that tall? So unfortunately, guys, this is a very yellow. It's not even yellow. It's kind of like blue-ish. But a lot of acros really only look good under full actinic. But this is just kind of like a quick little top-down view. All of these started off as like 1-inch frags, and they're slowly turning into colonies. And then we propagate the heck out of them, like so. Yeah, but now we're finally getting like trays of home wreckers and Walt Disney's. What are those black tables made out of? They are acrylic. Custom acrylic trays. What do you do when we have a blackout? Funny you mention that. Here, I'll show you what we do when we have a blackout. Okay, let me go ahead and turn this guy back on. Okay, we're done looking top down at the SPS. All right. That was the overflow siphon bottoming out. Okay, pumps back on. But we, maybe a few months ago, we got a generator installed. So we'll take a walk out here. We'll just take a quick peek inside the greenhouse too. Okay, bright light. Apologize in advance. And you are seeing all this through this orange lens. But we got this in case we have a power outage. It's an 80 kilowatt 3-phase generator. So it'll run all the buildings back here. It backs up the entire panel. Okay. Bright. I'm used to living in my little cave. Okay. All right. This is the remnants of our last live show that we did. It looks like we didn't really sell anything, but we kind of did. What would I rate my facility in terms of high-end farms? I might be a little bit biased in that assessment. Any corals under natural sun? I mean, we have a greenhouse, but ideally I would rather not have sunlight. And I've been talking about kind of like making this thing not a greenhouse. But yeah, I'm thinking that we're probably not going to dump in a whole lot more investment into this building and just kind of like ride with whatever we've got. Some of the older tubs going on here. Looks like these guys just got fed. Natural sun, is it better? No. It's more of a distraction than anything, because what tends to happen is that it's too inconsistent. And a lot of corals and stuff don't like that. Skimmer was overflowing a bit. Don't know. Possible. The secret coral treasure chest. Don't know if we really have much in the way of like secret stashes. It's more like, well, there's actually good timing. This guy, for example, is probably going to end up being like a pet more than anything that's ever going to be on our website. Super nice, like a Canthophilia. How big is that coral? Probably, it's about the size of a hand, like my hand. Are we lagging? Hopefully not. Yeah, hand-sized. Where do we take pictures for the live show and website? Well, we've got a photography tank specifically that Becca usually shoots in. But like these tanks here, we do the YouTube shows in them. We just put a background up. Return valve open? Yeah, I did. On the SPS tank. It's open. I'll prove it to you in a sec. But yeah, you see how like we put the background up. We have a lot of these background pieces. And then for like the bigger shows, we'll do like top-down photography into tanks like this. And in the future, we're probably gonna be putting in deeper aquariums, because it's better to get some distance. Blah 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 photography stuff. Not gonna worry about it. There's a black background in the tank or behind it. It's inside the tank. Like those guys are sitting. You see how it's kind of like that. Okay, let's head back over. I'll prove it that I turned back that flow. Yeah, the background, it is it's acrylic. If you see anything like that that's plastic looking in the tank, it's all going to be like monthly electric bill, much less than you might think. Two please. The $4.99. Thanks very much. How many employees do you have? It fluctuates. Right now, maybe like 5 or 6. Need to water that grass? No, we don't. That stuff grows so fast. It's actually squishy wet out there. Okay. So, walking back over here. Valve is open. Told you so. I'm thinking of growing and selling frags on a small scale. Go for it. It is how I got started. Do you have a tank at home? No. Yeah, everything looks orange. So yeah, so the grass outside might look brown. So when will we be open to the public? We were hoping to already be, but staffing is like the #1 problem that we're running into as far as that goes. What have I not shown you guys already? Yeah, I definitely do not have a tank at home. That's not something I want in my life. So these guys just got fed. Look at how long it takes. Can you guys even see the food in there? But look at how long it takes for them just to clear all the shrimp out. It's like under a minute, it's all gone. You guys want to see the staff hangout area? Yeah, I'll take a look in a sec. No, you're not the only one. Zinies are cool. Yeah. I'm not going to bug the staff, so I'm going to kind of show you from a distance. You should have shown us the frozen gelato. All right. Okay. We're making some aquascapes over there. And I apologize that it's a little loud because the air conditioner is running. Okay, up we go. Who makes the tanks? It is a combination of Reef Savvy for the first 10. And then we had a couple of tanks made by Ocean Life Aquariums. It's also a pretty cool view here. Looking down on the Peninsula Show tank from up top. And you can kind of see how like all the lighting stuff is hidden in those. How thick are the plexiglass plates? Maybe a 1/4 inch. Any tips on starting a coral farm? I don't even know. How do you keep the place clean and maintain cleaning all the glass and all that? I literally scrape it. Okay, not gonna bug the staff, but this is where they eat the lunches. So this place is actually a bit cleaner than we normally keep it because we're getting some lighted shelves. Sorry guys, please ignore the cameras. We're getting some lighted shelves. And we had to clear off all of this temporarily, and I thought that they would already be in, but they had to order the wood. So all of our cool gadgets are all like sitting over here. So this is the super duper gelato machine. That's the bread maker. That's the blender that we make for like smoothies. And the wines. You want to see Becca? That's Becca. So there's that. But yeah, the employee break area is basically the kitchen. And apparently it's lunchtime, meaning I should probably get something to eat as well. But yep, that's the upstairs. Not too many people get to see that. Everybody's sending in their applications now. Never know. Never know. All right. Sit down for just a moment, catch up on some of this chitter chat. My favorite food, you know, I'm not really like a food guy. That's why I'm like able to change my diet to something healthier. I would actually, if I could, I would want somebody just to make me salads every day. But honestly, like my favorite food is probably like a nice steak. And nobody really cares. Somebody was asking, when is our next actual YouTube live show? I think it is going to be the 21st of this month. The 21st. What's the best way to cycle a tank? I'm not really sure. We're cycling Becca's tank right now, and it is going slowly. Currently, it's just a bunch of ammonia that we've got going on there. Okay, somebody's real curious about these plexiglass plates. You're asking the wrong question though. So these are these plexiglass plates. Well, they're acrylic, right? So I've got one in my hand. It is about 9 by, I don't know, 9 by 9. And it's got little dowel rods for legs. Each one of these has 25 holes. So the reason why I was saying that you're asking the wrong question is this stuff is expensive. Like the only reason why we go with this over, say, like egg crate is because we do a lot of like hand scrubbing of stuff. And because of that, it actually saves labor to go with something like this over egg crate. These things are available retail for about $30 each. And you see how many that we have? That's like 1/8 of how many we have to buy to even get these things remotely close to affordable. Otherwise, they're about 30 a piece. Yeah. So if you can do without, why don't you just 3D print it? Bro. To 3D print everything on there would take how many months? Anything, so I don't know anything about the seal that we used. But it was really cost effective, surprisingly. I mean, all this talk about stuff being expensive. But no, this stuff we got it done for less than $1 per square foot, if you can imagine. And I have to put a wax coat every now and again, but I haven't waxed this floor in months. only because like there's been so many construction-y type projects. So there's just tons of tons of like things in the way. But I really do need to like do like a really good cleaning of this floor and then put a wax coat on. Because once you put a wax coat on, it's like shiny, 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 shiny. But a wax coat's like really, really nice because it's super easy to apply, and it protects the floor nicely. And it, eventually it'll like kind of just get scuffed and haze. But then like I don't even like heat buff it or anything like that. I just put another coat right over top of it. Oh, thanks too, please. Doing all the work with the like, yes, send super chats. This stuff wasn't free. I got bills. If nothing else, it'll pay for a salad, and that's good enough. Hello from the Philippines. That is one place I'd like to visit one day. I've been kind of like travel restricted lately. We've got a lot of projects going on here, so I'm kind of in like project jail. I don't know if this will show up on camera, but you see how like the bottom looks like spotted? There is a bunch of little amphipods that somehow, again, got into the system, don't know how. And because of that, like they multiplied, and then they equally distanced themselves apart from one another into their own little territories. Yeah. But anyway, guys, that's kind of like where the farm is currently. Our next big projects are going to be doing, we're going to be doing a lot of wire management to try to organize a lot of control system type stuff. We've got an Alcatronic. There's a GHL sitting over there. We got an ozone system, and it was gifted to us from the manufacturer, and we still haven't set it up yet because we need to make sure that like our ORP monitoring is in place for that. And currently our ORP system is sitting in those boxes, so we need to kind of do something about that. Do we run UV? Yeah, we got a small one. Is it bad for pods to be in the system? No, pods are great. Pods are great. Okay, are you considering a Neptune skylights for photography? Okay, here's the thing. I saw the lights when I was over in Orlando for that trade show, Aquashella, and I didn't spend any time talking with the Neptune guys, but I did take a look at the Neptune sky, just filming the tank, and it was nice. Like I really liked the thing, how the appearance of the stuff that was getting illuminated. Now, I don't know if you guys follow like Telegram on Instagram. I think he's like he's like an Air Force engineer or something like that. I occasionally email back and forth with him, but I guess he compared it to basically a Chinese black box light, and it had the exact same spectrum and output. Aaron Ward for the $2. Thank you so much. And thank you too, please, for the super chat earlier. So I'm like, I don't know what the deal is with that, but if you can like get that type of performance with a $100 Vipar Spectra or whatever that thing's called, I might look at something like that. Otherwise, I'm still looking at Orphic if the new control system is better and more functional than the current control system. Because my friend, his tank looked absolutely amazing for photography under Orphix. I tend to think that for like the bulk of our growing systems and stuff like that, we're really happy with the Ecotech Radions, but specifically for like photography and videography, it's a little harsh looking, and it's hard to get kind of the rendition that I'm looking for. Whereas like some of these other lights seem to be a little bit more flattering. So I'm still very much, Yeah, the thumbnail for the live is terrifying. I know. Like, they make you do one. They make you do like a thing, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be on camera today. But snappy snap, and there he goes. Are all your systems bare bottom? Except for this one. This is Becca's tank. I actually like substrate, but all these guys here revolt whenever it comes to substrate, and they act like I'm asking them to build a damn pyramid. And the thing is, they never clean the substrate anyway. That's the funny part. Does each employee get their own tanks? No. No. They don't. I would venture to guess that nobody here really wants their own tank here. Like, I think that they are plenty kept busy about the tanks that they have to maintain in general here. I don't think that they're missing that in their lives. So Ben doesn't even have a home aquarium at all. So Becca is special because she creates YouTube content, and so that tank is her content tank. And also, it's good that because she's relatively inexperienced when it comes to this hobby, and so I want her to have like first-hand experience, because like sometimes, like, you know, we're talking about these concepts, and you know, unless you like struggle through something, you don't know. Like right now, like she's doing a video all about the nitrogen cycle as she's trying to cycle her reef aquarium, and it's like, oh yeah, this is a theory. In practice, this kind of sucks. Why isn't like my nitrites coming up? Why isn't my nitrates coming up? Why I'm just stuck at ammonia? Are we doing everything right? Blah, blah, blah. So this is like the experience that I want her to have. Everybody else here kind of has had an aquarium. They've got like years of experience. So like getting another aquarium for them, it's like, nobody really cares. Damn, you're like an Asian parent. I guess that's gonna have to do, because I'm not gonna actually be one. But yeah, I'm all about having people actually struggle through stuff. It's like sometimes people have like ideas. It's like, okay, let's try it your way and see like where it fails. We do that all the time. Let's see. I don't know what you mean by getting an outbreak with 0 and 0, because there's like practically nothing going on in those tanks. Are stockpiling extra equipment? Unfortunately, yes. For example, these Vectra pumps here, Ecotech Vectras, we always have a couple on hand. Most farms will keep at least a dozen on hand, but we don't. We just keep 2. Maybe 3. Maybe we have 3. I'm not exactly sure, but we have a few. As far as like power heads, I mean, they come and go. Where do you keep your nitrates and phosphates at? So ideally, I want my phosphates to be like 0.0 or 0.1. 0.05 to 0.1 would be great. Nitrates, I like 10 to 20. I would much rather have them be slightly higher than that than too low, because once they get too low, it gets kind of weird. The corals start to like act like they're starving, and I don't like that. Even when we're pounding them with food. So for example, the past 2-3 days, I mean, we've just been like slamming these things with food, and they could absolutely eat right now if we wanted to feed them. So normally what I would do to feed, I would shut these 2 pumps off. I would turn off that return there, make this thing completely still, and then go crazy with just like stuffing these things with as much food as they could possibly handle. I mean, like, look how fat these Bowerbanki are. These guys used to be called Acan Bowerbankis. I think they're now Homophilia. Oh, Interesting question. The 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 crime scene, the taped out area. So we've got like the 5 aquariums, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we've got this little taped off square here, this 3-foot by 3-foot square. In theory, we could put another 3-foot by 3-foot tank there. But I think what we're going to end up doing is just putting like possibly another stand, like an aluminum stand there, and putting in a quartz top for like a work area. Favorite equipment and least favorite equipment. That's a good question. I would say that my absolute most favorite thing is Abyss pumps. They're super expensive, German-made, solid blocks of titanium goodness. For example, that is an Abyss. The only problem is for a facility like this, we have to have backup Abyss's. And you know what? We've never had to use one. But it sucks to have like a multi-$1,000 pump sitting on a shelf just in case something fails. Because, you know, if something fails here, we have a problem if we don't have a backup. So we have to have backups. But that is an expensive insurance policy just to have sitting on a shelf. The other thing that I want to point out, we've got 5 taped off sections here, right? They're going to be 500 gallons apiece. Now, where is the sump going to go? Normally, people would say put the sump right underneath, right? Something like that. But no, that's not how we do things. We wanted all the sumps to be kind of centrally located in this middle portion of the building. So all the maintenance-y type things, as far as like water changes, cleaning skimmers and whatnot, all gets done within this 20-foot square space. And by 20 foot, I mean it's like bigger than that. So the new sump is actually going to be going right here, mirroring what's going on over there. And how, pray tell, are we going to be going about attaching these tanks here to something over there when there is a bathroom in the way? I mean, you can't exactly run plumbing across the face of the bathroom, right? That would be kind of bad. So, one of the big brain things we did, we don't have a ton of big brain ideas, but this is one of them. On the very first days of building this building, what we're going to be doing is these guys are going to be connected together, and it's going to tuck into this corner, and it's going to go through this wall, because from day one, we're putting in a false wall back here. So this bathroom, take a quick peek at the bathroom. This bathroom here, bathroom, you get the idea. This bathroom does not go to the outside wall. There is a 1-foot-long channel gap behind there that we can run all of the plumbing. So for the systems over there and the sump over there can get connected through this back channel. So that's the idea. So it'll pop out from the back wall there, and we'll have our sump, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's what's going on, you guys. Anyway, I actually am starting to get a little bit hungry. So I'm gonna wrap up this live stream. Thank you all very much for hanging out with me. I actually should probably get some food and get back to work. So I will talk to you guys later. I actually am working on some videos, some real ones, not just like the live stream. And we will see how that goes. Yeah, I need to make more content. I know. But I'll see you guys later. Thanks again. Bye-bye.